YouTube. We did the thing.
All right, we'll see everybody next month.
Yep. Good game, everyone.
Right.
Was nice seeing y'all.
Goodbye.
All right. It's Deck Tech Part 2.
That's right. You have so many decks to tech that we had to split it into 2 sessions. Will we have 7 today?
Yeah, 7 sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me to do math.
Yeah. It's a weird collection of decks. I don't know. What are we supposed to do here? Something. Decked out Patreon. If you are a renowned member, then you get to do this thing where we go over your deck and talk about how cool it is or not cool it is, and you can send us little goals or things for us to assess or find for you.
And we'll do it badly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
No, wait. To be clear, I will do it badly.
Yeah, I'll just make fun of him for doing it badly. Even though I can't do it any better. All right, where are we starting?
This is a submission from Half an Apple. This is a Rule 0 deck, so we're starting off strong. And they said that they will always, of course, bring this up in the Rule 0 conversation, and that nobody has ever turned it down. And that is probably because one of these commanders is very bad. This is a Walking Dead Rule 0 partner deck with Michonne.
That's yeah.
I haven't seen the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I saw the first episode.
I made it to season 9, and then I felt like it jumped the shark a little too much, and I stopped.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the first episode, and then everybody was like, "Oh, you look like Glenn," and I was like, "Nah, that's kind of racist." And that's as much knowledge as I have on The Walking Dead.
Yeah, don't worry, Glenn's completely fine. Nothing bad happened to him. He's in a farm upstate.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out for him.
Gonna turn our volume up. Sure. How's that? That looks good. That looks like we're hitting the yellow.
Yeah? Okay. So yes, we have Rule 0 partners of Michonne, Ruthless Survivor, and Rick, Steadfast Leader. We'll start with Rick, because this card is actually really messed up. When he enters, you choose 2 out of these 3. First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. All of your humans have those abilities, and as long as you control 4 or more humans, which you usually will, your humans also get +2/+2. All of that for 4 mana.
Okay, that's a long way to say plot armor.
Yeah. And then, not armor. This is where we're at today. So Michonne enters, you create 2 Walker tokens, which are just zombie tokens with a different name. They're 2/2 zombies, they just have the name Walker. As long as she's equipped, she must be blocked if able, and if she attacks with at least 2 zombies, she gains indestructible. But that is 5 mana in colors that are only half good at zombie.
I think black's pretty good at zombie.
Right, but half good at zombie. Black good at zombie. Green not good at zombie.
Zombie equipment is a little weird.
Yes.
I feel like those 2 things don't really overlap all that well.
Right. That's a lot to get this to work, because she's only a 3/3. So you don't, people will just let this through. It doesn't do anything. You need to have her equipped, and you need your 2 zombies attacking, and to kind of live, or you need to make more zombies. Anyway. I think the most important part about this deck is that Half an Apple has named it Aristocrats.
Excellent.
Or at least the initial version of it. But this is leaning more towards humans, and they would like for us to find some finishers in a human theme. And I think there was also mention of maybe finding actual legal partners to play in the deck as well. So here's what we got. 29 humans. I think everything except for 1 or 2 are in here are... Yeah, I think I found 2 that were not humans, and for pretty decent reason. Some higher power staples. Hi, everybody. Mikaeus is a card that I feel like I don't see anymore. but that does a whole lot, because your humans also usually come with +1/+1 synergy, and this deck is definitely leaning into that, like, as a sub theme. So we've got like Black Panther, which is able to move counters around and gain life and draw cards. We have some Outlast creatures like Falconer and the Envoy of Ancestors to give you additional buffs for creatures with counters on them.
How do you think Wakanda did in the zombie apocalypse?
Did they find it? Can zombies find Wakanda?
I don't know, but I feel like the zombies wouldn't be able to bite through whatever their unobtainium, adamantium, whatever.
But look at the additional warriors, because like it's really only Black Panther himself that is fully covered. Like, they have exposed bits.
That's true. That'd be a great Black Panther movie, honestly.
Well, they do the What If series, right? there's a like series on Disney Plus or whatever, not sponsored, that where they do hypothetical, like, alternate universe scenarios, and they're usually kind of ridiculous. Like,
let's just screw the deck text.
Yeah.
Let's just go watch that.
Yeah. Or also somebody make the Magic version of that. Make it's a Lesnia Zombies deck using Black Panther as your commander. What else have we got? Okay, here's one of the two non-humans, Evolution Witness. And this is here because it's a really strong card if you have a lot of counter synergy, because you just return something every time you put a counter on it. And there's lots of ways to do that. We have some, like, cost reduction. We have Cleopatra is a human, like, makes sense, but not a more recent release that I had not thought about in like an Abzan Humans build, and has so much utility in, like, with counter synergy and just keeping you in the game. Yeah, you have a solid package of some pretty high power humans here. You have a little bit of everything.
I feel like I really want something like Relic of Legends. Like, I can't look at Honest Rutscene in a deck with a ton of legends and not think of the old standard deck that just looped everything.
Well, you will be disappointed, but I don't know, like, how many we have, like, what, about half legends here, but okay, not a lot of instant sorceries. We have a little bit of ramp. We have some get out of jail free buttons, and then a little bit of interaction: Assassin's Trophy, Beast Within, Generous Gift. Notable, we have like 4 copies of this kind of effect of Save My Board: Heroic Intervention, Flawless Maneuver, Teferi's Protection, Clever Concealment.
Yeah, zombies decks notoriously concerned with protecting their board.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
humans, yeah.
Right. They're even though you have Michonne in the command zone, there is not a single thing here that makes zombies or is a zombie, because she's just there for the flavor.
Okay.
And the colors, because otherwise you'd be mono white.
And deck thinning.
Right. Right. Artifact wise,
thank you, Evil Beard, for the sub. Appreciate it.
Ooh. Tarian Soul Cleaver. Just a generally, like, really good card that you should be running in so many things that you don't realize, because you all, like, any decks that have artifacts or creatures that are going to graveyard constantly, and this does count your opponent's stuff, stuff that cares about equipment, stuff that cares about +1/+1 counters, because this is such a low, like, cost to get so much. We have a little bit of ramp, Signet, Sword of the Animist, I will call the Great Henge ramp. The Greaves and Boots are fine cards for Commander. Sometimes you just need to fill spots, but I don't know if they do any more than their baseline in this deck, because we're not super concerned about haste. I mean, they will do the protection thing.
Hasting Adeline, I guess, is fine, but yeah, not much really cares about being able to attack the turn it comes in.
Right. And you do have the only other non-human in the deck, Sigarda, which is giving your other permanents hexproof. And it's here because you can cast human spells off the top of your library. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, fine and good cards. But these would be some of the first ones that I would look to swap out for, like, more thematic or fun cards. Horn of Gondor seems super messed up here. It already is solid on its own, but you're just going to like just fart out a million humans every turn, and then
I remember that in Lords of the Rings Limited.
yeah,
That wasn't fun to see.
it was a lot of fun to see because I never saw it on the other side of the table. I was the one opening it. Yeah. Once again, more like protection that I'm not as concerned about here. We have some swords for fun. Helm of the Host, I think same deal. Oh, wait, NerdGirl's not here, so I can say that this is a terrible card and nobody should be running this unless you have a really, really good reason to. This in this deck is 9 mana. There's nothing reducing the cost of this equip cost, and it is just like there's nothing here that like really ends the game if you're making copies of it. They're just things that are very good, but that's like most creatures in any deck.
But if you spend 14 mana and wait a turn cycle, you can attack with an unblockable Michonne that copies herself.
That okay, there we go. And you make 2 walkers every time.
Yep.
That's yeah. Yes. I it's been a while since I've gotten to go super low on Helm of the Host.
I'm happy to help.
Right. The Mask of Nexus is cute, I guess. This is the only thing that synergizes with Michonne because all of your humans are also zombies.
Oh, how does Rick feel about that?
Right.
I guess he already knew. Oh, you haven't seen the show.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the twist? They've all been zombies the whole time?
They've all been infected. Like they all have the disease, and no matter whether they get bit or not, they turn.
Well, there you go. Spoilers, everybody. Yeah, the One Ring is a card that you put in decks, and it does good things. Okay, enchantments. There's some fun ones in here. I like the Vraska Joins Up. You do have a good number of legendary creatures, and that's repeatable card draw. Black Market Connections, I guess, also does give you zombies/humans, so sure. And then you have good card. Doubling Season. I don't know that this passes the test for me on being good enough at 5 mana.
Not as assembled, but I think if we do what I want to do with the deck and lean heavily into the humans and human tokens, this could be fine.
Yeah. Okay. And then like a little pump and stuff, and Innkeeper's Talent is a great card.
We don't have the Vraska for the win.
Oh yeah, with Innkeeper's Talent or Doubling Season.
Yeah.
Or actually does not work with Doubling Season.
It kind of a little bit works with Doubling Season.
I sort of. Wait. No.
Not well. Actually, no, it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, no part of this.
It doesn't even affect the Planeswalker ability. No, because Vraska's plus is a 0 actually, so it is an effect that puts a loyalty counter on her.
Oh, because you're proliferating.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yep. There we go. And then we have an eye-twitching 33 lands.
35, including MDFC, says Moxfield.
Yeah, but what were they again? I think they were spells we wanted to cast. Fell to Profane and Witch Enchanter. Yeah, I would count that as one. That Enchanter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so...
How do you join the Discord? Over on the YouTube channel, Jim, there should be a link to the Discord in the description of just about any video you look at.
Yeah, do smarter people than us know if there's also a command for...
I think Bang EDH takes them to the Decked Out YouTube channel.
Okay. I will try that.
Damn. Ah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So. Oh, yes. The notable. What artifact is missing here?
I mean, I can't see any staple of Commander in the artifact slot that is not here. I think this covers all the bases.
Okay, great. We'll move on. No, I can see one ring that is missing here. They're not running Soul Ring. I think
they should.
They should. But I respect it. It puts sometimes Soul Ring tricks you into thinking your deck works.
How about turn 2 Rick? That seems okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I can be okay with it.
Oh, I'm fine with like as a matter of religion, not including Soul Ring in your deck.
All right, so we're trying to find finishers and maybe legal commanders. So it depends on what you're trying to do here. It's a funny goal for me because I don't feel like this really needs it. The deck does. I think the deck could finish the game out by itself. But
I want Athalia's Lieutenant. Like 2 mana buff your entire board seems pretty great.
Yeah, I mean there's some humans that I would try out in this list, like the Selesnya Catilda. All my humans tap for mana. Or like,
what's the Doctor Who dog? Kolvari something?
Oh yeah. Carvanista.
That's the one, yeah.
Or like, like Mother of Runes. Giver Runes is not a human. Mother of Runes is human. You could kind of count this as a game ender. I feel like Call the Coppercoats would be pretty great here.
Oh yeah,
because those are all humans, so they're getting all of your other buffs. It's instant speed, so you can just pop it at the end of your opponent's turn, untap, and lethal swing on the table.
How many Coco hits do we have? Not enough, I don't think.
Yeah.
You'll whiff on Coco too much, I think.
So the game enders I could think of, because we are in Kindred like strategy, so Banner of Kinship, new card from Foundations, just like massive buff to your team, usually is enough to finish the games out. And then kind of a good segue is Kamal, because I think this is the one I want. Yeah, this could be both. Because this is a partner, so you could partner to this with an Orzhov partner, like, say, Timna, who is also a human. And that gives you legal partner commanders. Plus, this just, on your combat, buffs your team +3 and trample.
So I guess all of this only kind of matters if we can find an appropriate legal backup commander for Rick. Because Michonne's biggest contribution to the deck is giving us green and black.
Yeah.
So we need to find something else that does that, or we need to do major surgery on the deck.
Right. I mean, it's doable. You could swap like Thalia and Gitrog into the command zone. Again, the partners like.
No, but then you lose the best part of the deck, which is the name.
That's yeah. Yeah, okay, never mind. We don't have to do that at all. You could also put the other Kamal in, the cheaper one at 5 mana. It just has repeatable overrun, 5 mana overrun, as a game ender. And then I think the other things that I could spot, this seems like Eerie Ultimatum is pretty free in this deck. We're in the right colors, and in Commander, that just reads, put your graveyard onto the battlefield.
Yeah. Which is some flavor.
Ah, yeah, see? We are pretty light on interaction. At least you have 3 very flexible removal spells, but I wouldn't mind a little bit more, because you have now a lot of removal spells that also synergize with this kind of deck, like Requisition Raid, which has the options for destroying an artifact and or destroy an enchantment and or put a +1/+1 counter on all of your creatures.
Is Starlight Spectacular in the deck? I don't know what that card does.
Starlight. I got way off of that. What are you? Where? Oh. That's, this thing. I mean, if you this card is actually a really good finisher. You just have to, like, be ready to put your brain behind it.
What the hell is this? At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose creatures you control one at a time until each creature's been chosen. Oh, so it's... What? Okay, so it's like some weird triangular number thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a good math problem.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, is it a good math problem?
I mean, when do you learn triangular numbers? Junior high?
Yeah, I guess.
So probably not.
Oh. But yes, actually, as far as my experience, this card does usually give you enough to win games. It's just you have to then think about, all right, wait, so I'll attack you with the creature that got no buff, but then I'll also add the one that got +4, and then that should be lethal, but it leaves me with I need my +5 and my +2 for, it's good. You just be ready to figure it out. Yeah. I think this is fun. It's got a good name to it. I think you don't have to worry about the partners if nobody's ever told you to not do it.
Yeah, no one is going to tell you not to play that card. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense that Rick should be able to use black. To me, anyway.
Yeah. So as far as our goal here, I would try out Banner of Kinship. Maybe one or both of the Kamals. But
I want to lean heavily into humans. I want like Thalia's Lieutenants. I want Raise the Alarms.
Yeah.
Heroic Reinforcements, that kind of thing.
Those aren't finishers, though.
No, that's true, but they kind of are, right? Like any Anthem, if you have a board 20 wide, is going to be a finisher.
I suppose. Okay. Cool. On to the next one?
On to the next one.
Yeah. Thank you, Half an Apple, and maybe I'll watch the show and find out all the nice things that happened to Glenn.
He's doing great.
Okay. This is Knight of Bawa's Gishath deck. You all know Gishath. Big 8-cost dino, hit an opponent, reveal a bunch of cards from your library, and put all those dinos onto the board for free. I thought that their primer was very funny. I don't know if it got copied over. No. But it was pretty much just like, rar, big dino, not think about other thing, just play big dino. I was like, yeah.
That's refreshing.
Yeah.
No, like, subtle, I'm going to build a deck that wins in this exact way and it has this cute interaction with this card. No, I'm just going to run you over.
Yeah. So you pretty much said, like, oh, not my decks, like other
exactly.
Decks.
Yes, right.
Yeah, it's very much focused on, like, just, I want to play the big fun cards. Like, pretty much from the third row of creatures onward is just big, chunky, fun cards. I think most of you by now have seen the general package that comes along with Naya Dinos. But this has got a couple friends. We're running Iroas here so that your creatures are having an easier time getting through, and you're preventing all damage when they swing. We get Xenagos, so that you can just go, great, my Galta and Maverin is a 24/24 that has haste as well, or right? Yes.
Oh yeah. World Spine Worm works really well with it too from Pioneer, so that's
I know
what that one does.
Oh yeah. That's right. That was a deck. That is a deck.
I don't see the 2-drop dino that reduces the cost of dinos. It's not that Huntmaster, right? It had some other name.
This is one of the things it does,
but it's another one because it also pings. That
Marauding
dino.
Raptor.
That's the one.
Yes. Remind me, Marauding Raptor, because that's in my notes for a general overall thing. But once we've gotten through, yes. Oh, here is our honorary. I don't think this has been errated to a dino. Right? Let me.
How could it not?
Because they didn't they exist at this point? Wouldn't they have just done it?
Knight of Bawa is saying in the
it's
chat
a dino. It's a dino. Okay, thank you.
Is it a lizard still?
It is, I think, no longer a lizard. Yeah, Dinosaur Beast. Yes. All right. So we have your general dinos package. A lot of fun cards you're just happy to have on the board.
What do you think of Polyraptor in Commander? Just as an aside, like something that's incredibly likely to just draw the game.
I mean that maybe that's why the Marauding Raptor is not in here, so that you don't have to worry about that happening, because usually the things that cause it to draw the game would be run in your own deck.
Yeah, that's true. I don't see
Yeah.
anything that pings on ETB here.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorceries instance, not much, because we knew that heading into this. Sometimes you just gotta clear bad stuff out of the way. We have sweepers like Vandalblast and Farewell. We have a little bit of ramp here in Farseek and Skyshroud Claim. I don't know why we need the Triumph of the Hordes in this deck.
Because whenever you play against Knight of Bawa, you have to run into Triumph of the Hordes. That's just how it works.
Yeah, signature card. Then if that's the case, then I'm with it. But otherwise, I think the Dinos will probably kill everybody on their own. Certainly, if you resolve an Achroma's Will. A fun little deflecting palm in here. I guess this is like even better. Like, yeah, I'm gonna swing out. Although I believe Gishath has Vigilance. But this is like one of those commander cards that's just like,
now someone's gonna threaten your Dino. They're gonna swing it at you, and then you're gonna deflecting palm it back at them.
what?
Someone's gonna take control of one of your Dinos.
Yeah.
They're gonna swing the Dino at you.
Okay.
And you're gonna deflecting palm the Dino.
Sure. Yep. Okay. Yeah. That's probably it.
Yep.
Boros Charm seems pretty great. I honestly would like to see some more of these kind of effects, because that's the thing that killed the Dinos, was a giant board wipe. And that is usually the thing that stops the Dino deck, because it doesn't rebuild well, because the way that you cheated out a bunch of things was an 8-cost commander.
And you've probably filled the deck with a bunch of ramp, although it doesn't look like we actually have.
That is my first point, because we saw only a few creatures that did it. We only saw 2 spells that did it, and now here we've got 3 talismans, and your auto includes Soul Ring Arcane Signet. We do have a solid 36 lands, but we have so little to play early. And as I was testing this deck out, going through using the Moxfield playtester, I struggled to get Gishath out before like more than like a turn or two early.
Yeah, let's just have a look at like some opening hands. This one had ramp. Let's see. Yep, that's Galta in your opening hand. Galta, Xenagos, Allosaurus. Yeah, you're definitely going to be taking over the game early there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Even if you have one piece of ramp, the Gishath deck wants like 3.
It's not meant to be viable. It's meant to be Timmy. And on that front, you have succeeded.
Yeah. Okay, hear me out. What if you could do both? What if you could do both of those things? Because there are dinos here that are missing that would both be Timmy and help you to get your Gishath out faster to actually get the cards that you enjoy playing. You have Hulking Raptor, which is a 4-drop that makes 2 green mana on your pre-combat main or something. You have Topiary Stomper, which turns into a big creature once you've got lands, but also helps to ramp you early. We talked about Marauding Raptor. There is Knight of the Stampede that is 4 mana that reduces all of your dinos by 2. I would be running those, because like we're not entirely Timmy. We have some little dorks down here. So I don't know. To me, like I've enjoyed a good Timmy deck in my day, but I want to be able to do the Timmy things. It's not necessarily just holding big cards in my hand. It's being able to put them onto the board. And if somebody just like puts me in a bad spot before I'm able to do that, then you don't get to do it.
Decked Out EDH is in the chat.
I think that's unlikely. Yeah, by the way, we did steal the desk. This is in a different room. We've recreated NerdGirl's background. She has no idea where we are.
Yeah, don't tell her.
Yeah. Some other stuff that I think might be fun in this deck. There's no Pantlaza, which like that seems like super Timmy and real good.
And it's exactly what the deck wants.
Right.
Right? Like just protection against wrath.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that's not the card I'm thinking of. I was thinking about Lapalane.
Oh, okay, yeah. No. Pantlaza would allow you to rebuild a lot faster too after a board wipe. One of my personal favorite like Timmy cards, especially for something like this, is Quartzwood Crasher. I really like that card. I had a lot of fun with that in Ikoria Limited. Yeah, there you are. And where did you... Okay. 5 mana, so it comes out a little bit earlier, and you get a really good rate for a 6/6 trample. And then on top of that, most of your dinosaurs have trample already, so when you hit with any of those, you make more big trampling dinos. And those trampling dino tokens that you make then also contribute to making more of themselves, because it does not specify that it is non-token damage.
Fair.
I like that card. There's the newer Voltborn Tyrant.
Love Voltborn Tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That is an expensive card. Unfortunately, it was a mythic in that. It was the super mythic in that set.
Mm-hmm. But like if you happen to have one, I would throw it in here, because another one, a typical struggle for the Dinos deck is card draw, because the dinosaurs themselves don't do it. And you are using so many slots for big creatures that, like, you don't have a lot of ways to get card advantage, and that one is pretty free.
Are there good mutates for Ikoria? Like, is Gemrazor a dino?
No, because I think oh wait,
Yadaro is, but that's not a mutate.
Not a mutate. Here we can do this. I forgot. We confirmed this last time. You can Moxfield search within
your colors.
or you can Scryfall search within Moxfield.
Shit, nice.
So yeah, it already only does things that you can actually put into the deck.
Cloud Piercer.
Yeah, Cloud Piercer is a dino. Regal Leosaur is a dino.
Demolisher. Oh, it's not a dino. Okay.
Right, but that's about it.
I'm gonna run some errands, and I'm gonna bring you boys back coffee.
How did you find us?
You're very loud.
Oh.
I think Hammy sold us out.
Unbelievable. Okay. Yes. Pondered Mutate. Yeah, I wish there were more dinos for it. The good ones are just not in these colors, weirdly enough. There's like the big...
The Jeskai one?
Yeah, the Jeskai one, the Teamer one, even like the Sultai one is reasonable, but they're all in different colors. Oh yeah, there was I think this is new. This one to me seems like a lot of fun. Sawhorn Nemesis. I think this is new from the Modern Horizons 3 commanders. But again, a cheaper dino that you can play early that just doubles all damage that you deal to a specific player. And it's funny because it doubles all damage to the player.
Not just source you control.
Right.
It's any source.
Yes.
Including their own sources, I guess, if they did something like
right,
that. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, but speaking of things that ping opponents for doing things that they want to do. There's that raptor, right? The one that pings when they do something not on their turn.
Oh yeah, and that's not even a ping. That's like I think 4 damage.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember what that card is called, but yeah, it's a 3-drop that's like a 4/3, and whenever a player plays stuff not on their turn, they take 4 damage.
Yep.
But that's what I was going to point out. So this actually does synergize with the deck as well, outside of just being a dinosaur and a fun card. If you're doubling Gishath's damage, that is more cards that you're looking at to be able to find big dinos. Yeah, look, the product fatigue is real. That's why we are here, to be able to find these for you that may have gotten missed by someone that does not literally live in the game.
Scytheclaw Raptor is the answer.
Scytheclaw Raptor, thank you. This was the other one, the last one that I could think of that I was like, this is the kind of dinos that I like. Where did you go? There we go. Okay. Again, smaller dino that you can put out early. I think this was in the Pat Laza pre-con. But when it attacks, you turn it into a different dino that you control. Except that its name is still Sunfrill Imitator. So that means you can double Gishath on a turn. So like you play this out early, Gishath comes down with haste, and you're like, great, I will swing 2 Gishaths and get double Gishath triggered.
And it's still legendary. So if you had something like Annie joins up in the deck, it would be a legendary creature named Sunfrill Imitator.
Wait, Night of Bawa, is this whole thing foiled out? I think you can get this in. I think
it's how could you not? It feels like you must be able to. Well, this was LCI was right before they switched to play boosters and revamped things. I guess it would maybe possible certain cards weren't in foil back then.
Yeah, because they'll put a bunch of them in the collector boosters as possible for foil, but maybe that one did not make the list. Okay, well then, yeah, cut.
I want to look at the mana base if we don't have any more ads. I want to see what this looks like. All right. No, nothing special here, right? Cavern of Souls, and that's about it. There's a few, like there's that new Modern Horizons 3 land that taps to give haste to something.
Arena of Glory?
Yeah, I think that is an auto include in here. It's a 1-color land, but like being able to give your commander haste the turn it comes into play seems like pretty big game.
It seems good. It would then have double haste.
Oh, Gishath has haste?
Gishath is hasted.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's less important. But something like a Tali or
right.
Really anything else,
I think it's still relevant for a lot of these other things. Yeah, as I tested this one out, I found that the mana base, I was able to cast the things that I wanted to. I just wanted to do them faster. Okay, so the few other things I had, this Radiant Destiny seems maybe a little out of place to me, because this card gets better the wider that you are. And even though Gishath cheats in a bunch of free dinosaurs, this is not really a go wide deck. Giving your dinos +1, I'm not too worried about. The Vigilance is nice, I guess. But I would be looking for, I don't know, something else here, something flashier, especially if we're leaning into the Timmy.
Yeah, how often do you even ascend in this deck?
Yeah,
when you haven't already won.
It's Commander, but yeah, when you haven't already won, that's fair.
Maybe it just gets cut for ramp.
That's Yeah, for one of the ramp dinos.
Or ramp, like another ramp artifact, or like a rampant growth or something like that.
Those, I think, are my thoughts on this deck. It's it's for sure a like a Knight of Bawa style Gishath deck. I like that there were some includes that I don't see as often, like the gods here, and the extreme overkill Triumph of the Hordes. I think if I were playing this, we didn't ask the NerdGirl question of would we put something like this on the show?
Ah.
Um,
Not without modification, I don't think.
this I think it would be fine.
Here's maybe a better question. What do you think is? I feel like people will misevaluate the power level of this deck at like casual commander tables. What do you think the actual power level of a deck like this is?
Well, it's funny that you'd ask that because that was a new goal that has been given to us for a couple of the decks for today. But
You have dodged the question.
yes, I think this is as far as things go, a pretty fair, if not tuned back Gishath list, specifically because we're more focused on let me cram as many cool big dinos in as I can versus let me ramp Gishath out quickly to be able to like take over before other players can match me.
But how can you say that? Look at all the mythics in this deck. It's clearly like an 8 or a 9.
Yeah. There's look, there's like Soul Ring in here. That's fast mana.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is a very I think it's a very fair list. I would put this at like
It's like precon level, kind of.
Yeah.
Like a little above.
I would put it about even because the precons tend to have a little bit more ramp than this for these kinds of decks. But yeah, I think it's pretty even there. To me, a modern precon is a 6.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to talk about with this one?
I think we're good. Big Dinosaur, no thinky, play Dino. But we now get to switch over to here. Well, we should give this the same treatment of will we put this on the show? That's always the ending question.
Rule zeros are rough.
I think if it were a Rule Zero game already, I'd have no problem with it. Or if it was like, hey, we're doing the Rule Zero for like TV shows or for something like that, then yeah, I don't think there's much here that's outside of our realm. We will probably cut this farewell, cut this One Ring.
Tithe.
Tithe is on the line. I'm okay with Smothering Tithes being in the deck because this kind of card, like if you compare it to like Rhystic Study, this kind of card is difficult because it makes a player make a decision at an important part during the turn. But casual players, and I think as far as we've seen on the show, for Smothering Tithe, you'll just go, I don't care. Make your treasure. So the decision is much easier than, do I need to think about my mana every time I play a spell for Rhystic Study?
I think I have paid for Smothering Tithe more often than I haven't when I've actually had the option to do it. Like I didn't get wheeled or something.
Yeah, but that's because you think about those things.
Yeah.
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 All right. Yeah, I also think that I think that Gishath here would be fine on the show. I would probably adjust the ramp a little bit to make sure that person is able to keep up with the other like power level of decks we normally have. This is totally different Naya deck from Big Daddy Magic. It is Ghired, Mirror of the Wilds. I believe that we have taken a look at this deck before. This is the most recent version.
Okay.
So Ghired, 3/3 haste. The cool thing that it does is it gives all of your non-token creatures the ability to tap and copy a token that has entered the battlefield this turn.
That's wild.
Right?
That's really good.
Yeah. And it makes for a lot of very interesting interactions with different things.
God, that feels like... That reminds me in a really weird way of Nadu.
Yeah.
Like, it has that level of explosiveness to it.
Yes. I would agree with that. This is like a palatable Nadu.
Yeah.
Our challenge for this is to give it a power rating.
Okay.
So we're starting off with 50 creatures, which may be the most creatures we've ever seen in a deck for deck tech here. But it is pretty important because Ghired specifies as only non-token creatures that get this ability. So having them out is pretty important. We have a full line of 1 mana dorks.
Oh my god, does Delny work the way I think it does? No, it's a triggered ability. Okay, you can't activate the thing and have it doubled if it's a mana dork or something.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. The Delny here is to double the ETBs of the tokens that you are making. But yeah, that would be Well, okay. Let me jump to here. Eartha Joe, random uncommon from OTJ, does copy those abilities. Whenever you activate an ability that targets a creature or player, copy it. And specifically, this does target the token you're copying, as opposed to, like, populate.
I want to put Claire de Lune in this somehow. Because they're not tokens anymore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I think they are tokens. I think they're still tokens. They just also have the properties
Tokens
of
are
cards.
cards. Yeah, I that is a thing that I don't know the specifics on. Is. But let's see, what did I have? Oh, okay. So also something they pointed out in the primer was this is purposefully 101 cards, but they did not say why. And so I'm very curious as to why it is on purpose 101 cards. But I don't know. I don't know if Big Daddy Magic is here in the chat today. We may never know. Yeah. There are big old, like, win the game combos in this deck. Because that is a very powerful ability. I'm more familiar with how this deck works, so I was able to spot them. But if you see any, point them out, because that was another one of their challenges. I think that was listed in the primer, was just like, hey, can you spot the secret combos? And there are like 2-card combos, but some cute stuff in the deck, like Wily Duke, able to tap, and then with Ghired's ability, so you get that added value. I really liked this choice here. The Reveille. I don't know. This white creature untaps all of your creatures when you are attacked. So it's you're essentially saying, great, would you like for me to make a bunch of copies of some sort of token every time that you attack?
You've got Jeskai Ascendancy vibes here.
Mm-hmm.
I want an Enduring Vitality. I see Enduring Innocence. Oh, there it is. Enduring Vitality is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Great, perfect. Love
Yes.
it. I think that card is perfect for this deck.
Mm-hmm. So now the other thing to keep in mind is you can only copy tokens and tokens that have entered that turn. So things like Agate Instigator that makes offspring tokens, you need to also have like things that are able to provide tokens for you. And we actually don't see many in the first chunk of creatures here. We just have the Instigator and Goro. But then later on you do have like Krenko, but not the ideal to be copying a 1/1 goblin. Hopefully you're kikiing something and then being able to copy that.
There's no Zinnia. I don't see one. But Zinnia's Jeskai.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, let's move on past the first half of the deck. Not many instances, or not many of anything else, because we filled 50 of our slots with creatures. But once again, we have another deck that really does not want its stuff to go away. 5 copies of Protect My Board. Then, good removal.
Skull Clamp, of course, huge.
Mm-hmm. Now, Blade of Selves, great card in this deck. Giving any of your creatures Myriad means that when you attack, you're making token copies of them, and those can then be copied. And copying a Myriad creature, which would normally be exiled at the end of combat, a copy does not copy that part of it. So,
But the copy will still have Myriad?
no.
No, because that's a property of the equipment.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, so your copy of whatever you've myriaded sticks around permanently, as opposed to the myriad copies that go away. They said that Throne of the God Pharaoh is a really good way to end the game because you're able to get all of your creatures tapped really easily. So you're just dinging the entire table, and for 2 mana, that's kind of wild.
I'll go kick his ass. You continue.
I am not an Arishards fan. I hate this card. But it is really good at what it does. It says, hey, everybody else, you cannot, you don't get artifacts or enchantments for the rest of the game unless you deal with this. We're at 33 lands, which is, you know what? Fine. 33 lands, fine, since we have 7 1-mana dorks. As I was testing this, did not really have a problem like producing mana. I will say, the first thing I noticed is I think every single one of my first handful of opening 7s for this deck got ruined by Terramorphic Expanse, Sheltering Landscape, Evolving Wilds, Fable Passage. Your commander is 3 pips. You have 7 mana dorks at 1. These set me back a turn consistently. I really did not like them in the deck. I would swap them out for anything that was untapped. Whether it's just like basic forests or
There's no channel lands in here?
no channel lands. But yeah, having a single search for one color tapped really messed me up on what I wanted to do every time I tested it. Here's a random old card that you should try out in this deck. I don't know that it has much of a home anywhere else. Sunstrike Legionnaire from Legions. When another creature comes into play, you untap it, and it has like a semi-relevant ability to tap a creature with cost 3 or less. But if you give it the Ghired ability, then that goes infinite. Because you make a copy of a token.
Because it itself costs 3 or less, so no matter what you have.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just, and any creature comes into play, you untap it. So yeah. Tap, make a token creature, that untaps it, do it again, blah 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 blah. And I think that's fine for where this deck sits now, because there already are those combos. Some of the ones that are hidden in here. Where are you? Where are you? Village Bellringer. If you can make a token copy of this, then it will untap all of your creatures each time that you make a new copy, and then those can then make copies of it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You do need a way to make a token copy of this, but you could, like, if you can just straight up combo with Kiki. You don't even need your commander. Also, Midnight Guard. Whenever another creature enters, you untap it. It's the same thing as the Sunstrike Legionnaire, just costs 1 more. So I think that kind of combo is fine with where the deck is already at.
Are there any good Survivor cards? Because those tend to scale when you have good ways to tap them without attacking with them.
There's some pretty... There's some more expensive creatures in here, like a Kono would be fine. Or Or do we have other permanents that we could sneak into? I mean, I think you're happy to have anything for free, if you can tap if you can tap your creatures.
Rip is good in this deck.
Does Rip finds equipment and vehicles? Yeah, this by the way is a card that you all should be on the lookout for as soon as Ether Drift drops. Right, it's put in a creature or vehicles with different powers. Okay, yeah. That's much better for this. I was thinking it was equipment and vehicles. Yeah, that seems pretty great with our 50 creature count. Here were some things that I thought would be a lot of fun in this. I was really surprised to not see a Jolly Balloon Man. We have Kiki Jiki. Might as well have Squeaky Jiki. I didn't come up with that name. I wish I did. But I think a cheaper version of Mecha is probably the only card with Jolly in it. No, there's Jolly Gerbils. Yeah, to make a token copy of one of your creatures, that seems exactly what this deck needs. Same with like Jaxus from Capenna does the same thing. It's pay one, discard a card, and make a token copy of one of your creatures that dies at end of turn. But again, if you copy that, it does not copy that aspect of the card. Your copy would stick around. Molten Duplication from OTJ's bonus sheet is 2 mana to make a copy of something that goes away at end of turn. Personal favorite, Mimic Vat. I really like this card. It is fun. And it allows you to do some funky stuff with your opponent's creatures. Whenever any creature dies, you can exile it under the Mimic Vat and then pay 3 and tap it to make a 1-turn copy.
I want Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Yes, absolutely.
Give me that.
Yeah, I every single possible copy of that kind of ability, for sure. And then this might be... Tell me how you feel about this.
I
think this is very funny. I still have some trauma from Wilds of Eldraine Limited on this just being unbeatable. But it automatically makes token copies of itself, and those copies care about how many other things you have named Gruff Triplets.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's 6 mana. And it's not really very good without the commander in play.
It's fine. It's 6 mana for what, 3/3/3/3s, and then 2 6/6s, and then 1/9/9. Yeah, also it's not really that great. It just makes me really happy because this was unbeatable in Limited because there are no board wipes.
Yeah.
In Commander, there are many board wipes, which
Yeah.
is the thing that just completely nullifies this. I would still run it because it makes me happy, but it's, yeah.
Fable activates at instant speed.
There we go. Okay, yes, and then I think maybe also more along the power level of this, a Rite of Harmony seems pretty busted. It's an instant for 2. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card.
Oh, it's creature. I only ever played that in enchantment decks.
Yeah.
I thought it was enchantment ETBs. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Because it's one of the few types of those effects that doesn't specify non-token. So it's just like, great, token, draw, token, draw, token, draw, blah, blah, blah.
We looked at the mana base briefly.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see an Urza Saga, right?
No.
I kind of want it. Like, we have some decent fetch targets. It taps to create a token of a reasonable size.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, Skull
honestly,
Clamp seems like so good.
Skull Clamp and Soul Ring is enough targets because both are really broken. I'm still. I would be. Any colorless lands are a little tough for me in this deck. Even like the filters here, I wish they were other cards. But if we swap some things around so that we didn't have those, I think I could make an exception for an Ursa Saga. Card's pretty solid.
It's not bad.
Yeah. Okay, so we had the goal of determining the power level for this deck. I'm pretty confident I know what I would put this at, but do you have thoughts?
We're doing the normal 10-point scale thing, or are we
Yes.
doing the...
I think we go with the 10-point scale.
The commander's ability is just so screwed up. And the power level of what we've surrounded it with is also really high, that it sort of demands that the opponents have interaction up at all times.
Mhm.
And any deck that requires like immediate interaction, I think, has to be at least an 8.
Mhm.
Without the commander in play, it's not super great. You have some decent cheap threats on their own, but most of it is like super expensive stuff that can be dealt with a board wipe. So I don't think I'd go higher. I think I'd say 8.
I agree. I think that this is an 8 because it can do some very powerful game-ending things. We've included some like 2-piece combos that just win. The thing that it does is really hard to interact with because it's like activated abilities, and we're making copies of copies. And the things that answer this strategy really only show up in higher power pods, like multiple board wipes or like stacks pieces that are preventing you from using activated abilities, or ETBs, like your Curse Totem, Torpor Orb, that kind of thing. You're just not going to see that anywhere lower than that. So to me, this is a solid 8. It gets kind of wrecked by those cards. I don't know that there is an answer in this deck to one of those things. To like artifact stacks piece. We have one Night of Autumn here.
If we had it Beseiju, then we would have one.
Yeah.
Meteor Golem, I don't think counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah. Yeah, because what if it's Torpor Orb is the ETB stopper, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that I think you have no answer to because your only answers are ETBs. Yeah. Yeah, right. It stops this. Yeah, creatures entering the battlefield don't cause triggers to happen.
Yep.
So yes. Now again, nobody's running that card at below like 8 kind of level. So
yeah. Okay. We agree on that then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, Jesus is saying he thinks 6.5. So here, to me, here are the general levels. If we start at the top, 10 is this is a top tier CEDH deck. This is optimized by a team, by the greater public. This is the best you can get. 9 is this is an optimized deck that can win CEDH games, but is not the best in that category. It may just be like, oh, you've optimized a commander that is not terribly that is not the best, or a strategy that is a little weaker. In 8 is this is a powerful deck that will not win a CEDH game. It is capable of ending the game well, and that's where I put that. A 7 is this is an upgraded precon, like a solidly upgraded precon. This is also where most people build like a fresh deck from. 6 is a modern precon. 5 is a downgraded precon. 4 is a like pauper EDH deck. So you're still got a lot of synergy. You're working like it's a functional deck. You're just capped by the power of the cards themselves. And below that is
You went through NerdGirl's boxes of limited chaff and through those.
Right. But also, like, then you took also out all of the good cards,
Right.
like the good playable limited cards. Yeah, and below that is like I grabbed a pile of cards. So I think this is capable of ending games fairly quickly.
Maybe I'm just too high on this commander. I think this commander is just really, really good.
It is,
And you can never take your eye off the player who's playing this deck for a second. So,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. And at least as far as my my testing was, the only thing that was inconsistent for it was getting started when I wanted to because of these tap lands.
Yep, I buy that. Okay, next up.
On the show, will we put this on the show? That would be tough. I think we don't play a lot of this power level, especially with like 2-piece combos. I think we would probably adjust that. Although on occasion we'll do like higher power decks like this.
Sometimes we get patron decks that are at this level and we need to match to them.
But honestly, there are not a lot of like individual cards that I would cut from this list. We would just have to make sure that we have a real solid pilot for it.
What?
It says imps, to be clear.
Oh, okay. That's not what I got
It
from
says
it.
imps. This deck was submitted by Zand. It is Judith, Carnage Connoisseur. I think this deck and commander are great. Our goal here is to improve the card draw and overall consistency of it. From what I heard, this is a deck that Zan plays pretty frequently in the decked out Discord games. So Judith, 5-mana commander. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you can either give the spell Death Touch and Lifelink, cool, or make a 2/2 imp that deals 2 damage to each opponent when it dies.
Yeah, that's cool,
right? Yeah, I thought this was one of the most interesting commanders to come out of Murders,
yeah.
Whatever that set was. Yeah. Okay. And of course we're gonna be looking at kind of a funky like deck to start off with. We only have 12 creatures. We have some ways to sacrifice those imps with like Dockside Chef. And we have some ways to convert those tokens into damage with like Marionette Apprentice. Mahadi turns them into stuff dying into treasures. Morbid Opportunist draws you cards off of them. And then Nadir's Nightblade, Mirkwood Bats, stuff like that is giving you a way to convert it into damage.
Sad Robot's weird.
Yeah, I guess it's just like we don't ramp so well in these colors, and we are always going to have ways to easily sacrifice it.
I guess it says draw a card is an artifact creature. Roadblock keeps you alive to cast your commander. I guess this commander doesn't really want to be cast on 5. Like, you want to cast it and get your value with it immediately.
Right.
So ramping straight to 6 could be good. Like, your commander plus end the festivities or something immediately on that next turn.
Yeah, I'm with that, but I'm also with your instinct that this is, I may be a little clunky here. We have a total of 49 instants and sorceries, which I think is pretty right for the deck. The strategy here is focused on playing a lot of small spells, since you're getting an imp for every single one of them. So yeah, you have a lot of just random like, oh, I'll draw some cards. Oh, draw a card, sacrifice my stuff, draw cards, draw cards, draw cards, because you're getting a relevant board presence from these spells anyway. We have spells like End the Festivities and Tectonic Hazard that deal damage, even though it's only 1 point damage to each creature your opponents control. You can just choose the first mode of Judith and give it Death Touch. So that's a 1 mana, one-sided board wipe. Yeah, it's really just like you have those, you have everything else that is drawing you cards, and then Mizzix's Mastery, big old game ender to recast your 49 spells. Instance, we're going to see a lot of the same, dealing damage to opponents' creatures. The Not Dead After All, Malakir Rebirth, Undying Malice kind of effect. I don't know that I'm so hot on those because they're not bringing your tokens back. They might be just your only way to protect Judith in a deck like this. But you will rarely have any other targets.
So I guess my question to you then would be, how important is it to protect Judith? Like, how well does the deck function without Judith in play?
I mean, there's only so bad that like draw cards can be, right? So a lot of these spells are drawing cards, but they do require you to have creatures on the board. So Judith is pretty important, and I don't think the deck wins without Judith on board.
Then I think I'm okay with having those, death trick effects to keep her alive.
Yeah. We do have some other ways to try and keep her alive with like deflecting SWAT effects. Untimely Malfunction and Return the Favor can both do that.
What is Imp's Mischief?
That also does that.
It's the weird newspaper.
Oh,
card.
yeah. This is one of those kind of cards that you don't like because it is
because it's bullshit.
Significant color break.
Right.
I run this in most of my black decks. That's a good time.
I'm going to go on my 30-second rant about this because we haven't done it yet today.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a commander player, like a new commander player, and you have experience playing other formats of Magic, you rely on the color pie as a way to predict what your opponents might be able to do on their turn. The worst feels bad is when a black player manages to counter your spell out of nowhere with an effect that you didn't know existed. That feels so bad. I hate it so much. This should be a red card. Why is it a black card?
I don't know. When was this printed?
It's OTJ.
No. But that's a reprint.
Oh, okay.
It was originally Planar Chaos, so it's literally a full set that was color breaks.
Yeah, just
So
ban the entire set. Like that's unacceptable.
I love Planar Chaos. That's it.
I don't buy that. Black shouldn't be able to do literal any effect if you pay life. That defeats the purpose of the color pie. Like, because then as long as my opponent's playing black, I literally can't predict anything that they might do. It could just be any possible effect in all of Magic. That drives me crazy.
I think it's great. What else have we got here? Yeah, I thought this was fun. That's old card from Mirage that you never see.
What a weird template. Play only on target opponent's turn. How do you play it before you've targeted the opponent?
Because it doesn't work.
Okay.
Like the errata is for sure just play only on an opponent's turn.
Okay.
I wonder if the errata also changes what the source is, because maybe that's why it's here, because you can also I don't know. It's just fun random old card.
Is there a way on Moxfield to get just the actual, not like the actual picture of the card, but the actual gatherer text?
I don't know if there is. Yeah, the Oracle text is: cast the spell only during an opponent's turn. Tap target creature that player controls. That creature deals damage equal to its power to the player. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and dealt by that creature this turn. So it's just another fun card that feels like it should be a white card. That would make you very happy when it blows you out. Yep. artifacts. I thought that this Hum of Awakening was kind of this is a madman choice. I
This doesn't
support
make
it.
any sense at all. But most of our cards are like heavily pipped, right? Like the
I mean, we have a lot of like 2-cost spells that all get reduced to 1.
I guess.
We,
Okay.
we do have a high density of 2 mana spells. It doesn't help on our ones, but there are very few cards here that aren't affected by it. I think it's super dangerous. But sure.
And it's symmetrical. Oh my god! I
Right.
didn't realize it was symmetrical. Holy shit.
Yes.
Okay. But now I'm more into it, like because you are breaking that symmetry. It's cutting the cost of your spells in half, but it's cutting cost of an opponent's spell down by like 20% or something.
Right. So you do get a lot more out of it. And then the rest is ramp. We have more ways to sacrifice our imps.
Ooh, Artist Town.
Yeah. Right. That
card
feels
makes me
real
happy.
good here.
Oh yeah.
Because we've got what 49. We've got more than half the deck is non-creature spells, and it reducing them, and then the additional damage is super relevant because it is just any source that is non-combat damage. So the imps are dealing damage. Yeah, that's great. I really liked the Into the Pit inclusion here, because being able to have access to so many more spells off the top of your library, you're usually going to have imps to sacrifice.
Should we put Magar in the 99?
That would be fun. I hate this. I hate this number. There are 25 true lands in this.
The commander costs 5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is utterly irresponsible. If there's one thing that breaks me, it is the land count in this deck.
But don't worry, you can Stone Rain yourself to put your commander in your hand with Command Beacon to avoid paying the tax later when it's inevitably killed.
Yes. I hate it. Now I can understand the reasoning for this. Is like, oh wow, but we've got so many spells that draw cards. But almost all of them require you to sacrifice a creature, which you don't want to be sacrificing one of your 12 creatures here. So at that point, you want Judith to already be out, your 5-mana commander, like you said. The only thing in a world of super casual mulligans, maybe, but yeah, this hurts my soul.
How many mountains and swamps do we even have for Dragonskull Summit? Not many, right? It's just the basics.
We have
You have 1 Smoldering Marsh.
11. Yeah, just the 12.
So almost all of these lands enter tapped as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and from doing the playtests myself, I did not have a game where I consistently hit my land drops. And like I would want to be able to do the Judith thing on curve. But okay. So that's the one thing that that's my big issue with the deck, but pretty much the rest of it I'm like, this is a great time. I'm going to introduce you to my favorite Judith Carnage Connoisseur card. And one of my favorite cards of all time. This is Blood Funnel.
Yep, that's in Blim.
Yeah.
I love this card.
In here, it does a totally different thing. So your non-creature spells cost 2 less to play for only 2 mana. So that is reducing so much in this deck. But whenever you play a non-creature spell, you have to counter it unless you sacrifice a creature. Here's the thing. You cast a spell. 2 triggers go on the stack. Judith and Blood Funnel. You let Judith resolve first, making an imp. You then sacrifice it to the Blood Funnel so that your spell isn't countered. And you can just absurdly chain together spell after spell after spell after spell for 1 mana and just have a grand old time. I think this spell is great. You should give it a shot.
I love giving that to other players.
You can give it to me.
Just, oh, your big dumb dino deck has 1 8-mana creature in play. Hope you didn't want to cast anything.
Okay. So our goal here was to improve some on-board card draw and overall consistency. I am surprised that a deck like this with such aggressive card draw is not as consistent as you want it to be. Because typically you're going to get to see most of the cards in the deck, but I took that to be like consistent, more consistently able to close out a game. Because I think you're able to pretty easily assemble what you want, aside from the 25 lands. I was surprised to not see Gutter Snipe, Fiery Inscription here. We have some smaller versions of that effect with Coruscation Mage, but I feel like 2 damage per each of your 49 instants and sorceries is really good for this. Especially the Fiery Inscription, which is a lot harder for people to interact with. Another one that might help you to convert into wins a lot easier. Right? Is it Torwaki the Younger?
I thought that was the...
Is the
that was
old
Boros? No, okay, that's Rakdos, yeah.
Okay. Torwaki is also like built for this deck. If a source you control will do non-combat damage, it does that +1. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you deal 2 damage to any target.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Also, Torwaki has lifelink, so the damage that it is doing from its own ability gains you life. What else? Maybe I think some other ways to convert your instants and sorceries into things that you want. Young Pyromancer or Sedgemoor Witch, just to put blockers onto the board for you, and they're also making more creatures that you can sacrifice to your spells that require it. The Sedgemoor Witch is nice because it's producing pests that then gain you life and are giving you some more longevity there.
Oh, yeah. What was that Strixhaven card that you could copy as many times as you wanted, sacrificing as long as you sacked a creature?
Plum the Forbidden.
That's the one.
Yes. That is nice. I wish it worked even better, since Judith is only a cast trigger, so the copies of it will not have that, but
Sedgemoor Witch works.
Right.
Sedgemoor Witch is Magecraft, I think. So that's for each copy.
Yes, yeah, it would absolutely work with Sedgemoor Witch. This also really seems like a Bolas Citadel deck.
Yeah.
Like you have a ton of really cheap spells that require, like most of them require a sacrifice, and that is the thing that you have for free. So, being able to just like drop that and win game by casting a billion spells in one turn.
Well, particularly you can gain back the life immediately with the spells that you cast from Bolas Citadel, right? Like if you just put a bunch of burn in here, Bolas Citadel plus Judith, like you can just infinitely go through your deck and kill.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. I think it's maybe harder to convert the deck that much, but like you have a commander that also gains you a bunch of life from all of your spells.
That's how I want to build. It's totally different than how this is assembled, but now I want to build it that way.
Yeah. You're missing out on the opportunity for the Blasphemous Act that gains you an absurd amount of life. Like, yes, it's going to kill your Judith, but hey, maybe for the low price of 2 mana with Judith on board, you can go cast Blasphemous Act, not dead after all, giving your Blasphemous Act lifelink, and that's 13 life per creature on board.
Yeah.
Okay, so those for me, particularly like the damage from spells stuff, I think might make the deck more consistent on turning your cool thing into win.
Blasphemous Act was considered and rejected.
Too broken. I mean, like, I can respect that.
I don't know. I mean, how often would your opponents be happy if you put a Blasphemous Act in their hand against you? Probably fairly often, right? Like, you're probably going to have a pretty big board a lot of the time.
Okay. We also were looking for some onboard card draw. I'm surprised that you need that too. But I would try out the new Ashling in this. I think this card is very fun because it has a whole book in its text box.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The important part is whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, you discard and draw. That is not limited. It's not like Omnath, which is only the first time. This will happen every single time you cast a spell. I don't think you have a problem going up in card advantage. You just probably are looking for the cards that you need. This will help you quickly rummage through your deck. Plus, it incidentally one-sided board wipes.
Yep.
And then pays you back for the spells that you cast. This seems really good in here. I think get Big Score and Unexpected Windfall for free.
Yep.
To help you again get to the things that you want. I also like you can go like turn 4, land pass, and then before you untap, go your end step Big Score, untap with 4 plus your land drop on 5 for 7 mana to be able to go 5 for Judith, hold open 2.
Yep.
And you're ready to go.
That's a nice pattern.
Yeah. What was the last thing that we said? Because you said an ad popped up and you missed that bit.
I think that came. I think they said that when you were talking about Ashling. And by the way, the VOD for this is going to be on the YouTube channel, so you can always go back and look at each segment if you want.
Yeah. But yeah, Ashling will help you quickly rummage through the deck, and is incidentally also a very powerful card. Braids. Braids is some really good on board. I think this card is absurdly good, and I don't see it played enough. So your end step, you sacrifice something, and each opponent has to sacrifice the same permanent type or lose 2 life and give you a card draw. So you've always got something available. You've got the imps, or maybe like incidental treasures from stuff. You can sack your sad robot, etc., etc. You are getting nobody goes around the table and you don't end up with at least 1 card draw. Usually it's 2 or 3. I really like the card. I think it's very good. Seems like it has a good home here. We saw Skull Clamp in some previous decks, but we didn't see it here. That also seems really good.
Are the imps 1/1s or 2/2s?
They are 2/2s. It does not kill them immediately. Which maybe is better because you still want them around. So after that, it's 1 mana for card draw. I would definitely be messing around with it.
I guess if you're going to put the Sedgemoor Witch and stuff and make the pests, like if you have ways to make 1/1s, it gets that much better.
Yeah, with that and Young Peasy and stuff.
Yeah.
The last one I could think of was Virtue of Courage, because it both gives you a spell as its adventure, just generic 2 mana, instant deal 2 damage. All of your stuff is happy for that. And then for, I think, 5 mana, on board, anytime that you deal non-combat damage, you get to impulse draw that much.
That card has not treated me well, ever, actually, but I'll take your word for it.
That's what I could come up with here.
How many lands do you want to add?
I mean, having only play tested it, but seeing, I think multiple people from the Decked Out Discord have backed up Zan's deck here. saying that like, yeah, we've not seen them get mana screwed. I'd still want a couple. It is 7 MDFCs in the deck.
I'd want another camera behind them that I could watch to make sure they were actually shuffling their deck properly.
Yeah, I think I'd still want like to get it at least up to 30 real lands. But I have to trust at a certain point. So the final thing is you might want to throw a Harmonic Prodigy in here. If an ability of a shaman or another wizard you control triggers, it triggers an additional time. And Judith is a shaman. So how about... Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that screams shaman to me.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Yeah, I don't get it, but is there on the card? How about 2 imps per per spell for only 2 mana? And the Harmonic Prodigy does have prowess, so it can be a big beater if you are doing your big storm turn.
Yep. No, that card's sick.
So though that's what I think about this deck. I think this is a lot of fun. I think this is a great commander. I will just have to trust that you are able to consistently get lands in a deck that only draws cards when it is able to sacrifice the creatures that it can't put onto the board until it has its commander out. I would absolutely play this deck. I don't think we would have to change anything here. This just seems super wild. I probably would have to like edit down 1 ridiculous turn. But
as for whether it's on the show, you mean?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is like whenever I win, it's with a deck like this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this I just do nothing, 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 and then oh shit, he's actually taken over the game. I think this is a great fit for the show.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I might have to put together a Judith deck of my own, just honestly, just so I can play Blood Funnel. But that's just me. Okay,
Next up,
cool. This is Borosif Stalin's Master Multiplied. We're staying in weird Rakdos commanders. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, the Master Multiplied is one of the most misunderstood Magic cards that exists. So I'm going to go over this.
oh my god,
So it has Myriad itself. The legend rule doesn't apply to creature tokens you control, and triggered abilities you control can't cause you to sacrifice or exile creature tokens you control.
the templating on this card got me because the line ends with creature, and I just totally skipped over the word tokens.
Yes. So if you go to the EDH rec page for this card, a significant number of the most played cards in the deck literally do not work. Like people do not understand this card, and I think that is fair. It is very, very strange and had to be written in a very specific way to get it to function the way they wanted it to. So
The level of rules understanding you need to be able to play this card correctly is high.
yes. Yeah, it's
And
very
just like basic English literacy too. Like that.
Right.
That's yeah.
right. So keep that in mind if you are deciding to build this deck. I think Brothers of Silent kind of nailed it on this, because I didn't notice anything that did not function in the deck. So that's really impressive. All right, so generally we're trying to break things like Myriad, which normally would exile the tokens at the end, at the end of combat, and things like that, where it's like sacrifice or exile at the end of or at the beginning of. That is a triggered ability. So any sort of thing like that gets stopped by the Master Multiplied. So we have cards with Myriad like Dalek Squadron and Genasi Enforcers. there are some other what were some of...
Here's a question for you. Rules question.
Mhm.
It says it can't make you sacrifice them, but can you still choose to?
Can't
Cause you to.
Yeah,
So no, that you don't
You-
get to choose to sacrifice them if for some reason you want to.
correct.
Okay.
Unearth here is a really sneaky include, especially since this Mishra does not have the reminder text. Because when you unearth, you put it back into. Wait, I'm thinking this wrong. Unearth puts the actual thing back into play.
Yep, and then it gets exiled.
Right. So this is really just to get your stuff back. This does not synergize directly with the Master Multiplied, but I think you have a lot of stuff that's going to end up in the graveyard, and getting it back is fine, even if for just a turn. I like the Phyrexian Soul Gorger kind of thing, because you're going to end up with a lot of extra tokens, and I think this is just a very cool card that nobody ever plays because it's also very bad, but but that's fun.
And this is a triggered ability, right? It's at the beginning.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
but unless you're making a token copy of this, then it does not apply to Master Multiplied.
Because this is paying a cost, right?
Or not even. This only affects creature tokens.
Right. See, yeah, I skipped over that line again. Yeah, this is hard.
Right. It is hard. And I believe we have some ways to do that, though. Like Cybermen Squadron can give your Phyrexian Soul Gorger Myriad. So that helps to get around it. Sorceries and instants. This is all, for the most part, pretty normal. We just have interaction, removal, cards that are good, Mana Geyser, Jessica's Will, etc. We have Bolt Bend here is nice because the biggest problem with Master Multiplied is it is a 6 mana commander that makes the deck work, but it's only a 4/3 that does not protect itself in any way. Granted, as soon as you get this thing to swing,
yeah,
you then have 2 more copies of it. So that helps to mitigate that some, but you just lose to removal a lot.
Yeah, even that has the Gruff Triplets problem we were talking about earlier, where
If you get board wiped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Artifacts. Yes, we have some ways to give haste so that we can swing with the master as soon as it comes out. Some ramp, Blade of Selves, of course. More things to more tokens to keep around, and Brass Forge.
Yep.
That applies to or Master Multiplied applies to this because you are sacrificing those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. That is a triggered ability trying to make you sacrifice creature tokens, so it just goes away.
Blood Funnel does not work, right? Even if you only have tokens in play, your spell will just get countered.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because you are making a decision.
Yeah, it's as a cost, right? It goes, yeah.
Yeah. Enchantments. Yeah, more haste. We have a lot of things that will be entering because of Myriad, so Warstorm Surge can do a lot of damage. And then general other good and fun cards. We have a responsible 36 lands. That's the deck. Our job here is to find 5 synergistic replacements for the deck.
Are we replacing anything in particular, or?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. There are so many fun cards with this deck. So I was surprised that we didn't see a Kiki Jiki. That was we saw that earlier in the Ghired list. That this is like built for Kiki Jiki.
Yep.
You're making tokens. Those tokens are supposed to be sacrificed at the end of the turn and are not. And that then provides you with more token copies for things like if you make the token copy of Phyrexian Soul Gorger, then its commune of upkeep does not matter because that is a trigger trying to make you sacrifice a creature token.
Am I too dumb to understand why Warp Coil Engine's here?
It is a cool card.
Okay, but there's no synergy here. Like, this is just a 6 mana thing that maybe you get to unearth if you happen to have Mishra in play.
Yes, I think.
Okay. So that would be one that I would look to replace. I feel like that doesn't fit.
Yeah, or like baby Wormcoil.
Yeah.
Oh, this one threw me. I don't know what this is in here for. It is a super interesting card, but I don't know what it does for the deck. A lot of words.
Can attack players who attack you. And when it attacks, it gets bigger. Okay.
It's like maybe just this is cool as hell if you give it Myriad.
Yeah. And it's also like, this deck wants to stay alive. It's 2/5 for 3 with a bunch of keywords is not bad.
Yeah. Just maybe I think it's maybe just case of cool card.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there are a lot of cards here that are like just generally, oh, this is a good card, we'll put it in deck. So it's pretty easy to find cards to remove, like the Worm Coils, like maybe this thing.
How about the that 3 mana Chandra that makes the 2 attacking or the 2 hasty 1/1s?
Yeah.
And that ramps you too. I think you can plus to make a mana.
Yes. I'm sure searching Chandra will get us what we're looking for.
That's it. Acolyte of Flame, I think, is the one.
Where do they... Oh, they put it at the top. This one, yeah. Okay. Make 2 elementals. They sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step, so you would save those tokens. Yeah. Totally works.
A Fable of a Mirror Breaker?
Yes. I think some of the other suggestions we have for Ghired, like Jaxus, to create a copy of anything you have on board, all of those are good. Here are some that we did not say from Ghired that I think you should try out. This guy is great. This one. Felon, make a token that's a copy of a creature in your graveyard, and you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. There you go. How about this is a newer card, Echoing Assault. Exactly what you're looking for. Your creature tokens have menace, and when you attack a player, you choose a non-creature or a non-token creature that's attacking and make a token copy of it that you sacrifice at the next end step.
Perfect.
Yeah. Flame Shadow Conjuring. It's a lot of these, a lot of cards that do this general.
There was like a Duskmourn card too. It was like a Doomblade that gave you a copy of their thing, and then you had to sacrifice it.
Yes, but it doesn't give you a copy. It actually takes the card itself.
Okay.
So it's destroy target creature. Put that card under your Yeah, Flame Shadow Conjuring is the same thing. When a creature enters under your control, you can pay 1 to make a copy of it that's exiled at your next end step, which is nullified by the master. A card that I've been messing around with, Determined Iteration. Now this may be a step farther away from what you're trying to do, because it needs a little bit more work, but for only 2 mana, you get to populate on your combat. The token would be sacrificed, but blah blah blah, it gets canceled. You just have to already have a relevant token to be able to populate. But for 2 mana, that is a lot of work for this deck. Like that does a lot of work in this deck.
Is there like a shared pain kind of card where like each player sacrifices whatever, like a balance or something that we could work with?
That's because you'd need it to be a triggered ability that is making you sacrifice.
Yeah, something like a Doom Foretold kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but you know more cards than I do.
I also can't think of one like that. I also can't think of one like that.
Okay.
I used to have this in my Tempting Worm deck. Sorceries. Hate Mirage. You can make 2 token copies that go away at end turn, but they're copies of stuff that your opponents have. That's fun. And it's 2 of them. So you choose 2 different targets, you make copies of those.
Split in half.
You mean
Saw in half?
Saw in half? Saw in half is fine to make token copies. But I mean the card is good already. But those copies you get to keep around anyway. So it helps for like populate and stuff. Like combining that with the determined iteration is pretty great. Yes. So yeah, I think my big ones here are Feldon, the Echoing Assault, Flame Shadow Conjuring, Kiki, Fable, and then trying out Hate Mirage, Jaxus, Determined Iteration.
I'm trying to think of good Unearth cards too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's the other thing is right. Unearth is return the actual card itself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird constraint.
Yeah. Here, I just want to do this really quick. We're gonna go to EDH track. We're gonna put in Master Multiplied. Okay. Look at this. Abyssal Harvester, 95% of recent decks. This does not work. You exile a card from a graveyard, you make a token copy of it, and then you exile all other Nightmare tokens you control. But this is not a triggered ability.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. It's 95% of the recent decks.
It does feel like any sentence that starts with "then" might be a triggered ability,
right?
But it isn't,
and that's difficult. Actually, Electro Duplicate would be a good addition to the deck. This does work. Blasphemous Edict is probably just in here because it's a good new card, but this is not a triggered ability, so this does not synergize with the deck. Let's see, what else do we have here that doesn't work? There was other stuff that I thought was funny. Maybe people heard me.
Almost
yelling.
Any instant or sorcery will have this problem, right? Because they won't be triggered abilities.
Right. Okay, anyway, well, just trust me. Just trust me. It doesn't work. Most things that you think work don't work because they don't work. Okay, that's it. Yeah, you see
Dispute doesn't work,
right, Deadly Dispute, Nasty End, that kind of thing, not triggered abilities, so they do not work. Yeah.
Okay, so we've come up with a few good synergistic adds. I think that was the ask for the deck. Is there anything else?
I wouldn't mind seeing like a little bit more of the ritual angle. We have Jessica's Will and Mana Geyser, but Jessica's Will, ideally we have our commander out already. Mana Geyser is already on turn 5. Slap like a Seething Song in to be able to play this early, or have mana to back it up to equip like your Swiftfoot Boots or something.
How about Helm of the Host?
I mean, what would those copies stick around, right?
Yeah. They're non-legendary too, right? You can make a copy
Yeah.
of a legendary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it fits the game plan. You don't need the commander out.
Actually, that is a fair point. That is a fair point. In a deck that struggles because people kill your commander constantly, that does give you a way that, like, all of these creatures are really good with Helm of the Host. So maybe if you're past the point where you would struggle to pay 9 mana, I give it a I guess so.
See, Nerd Girl, don't say I don't ever do anything for you.
Okay. That's
would it be on the show?
I think it would be on the show. I would be worried that it's still not able to protect its commander enough, so we would have the struggle of any of the players that are just good Magic players would be like, okay, well, I will kill that. I can literally bolt it.
Yeah, kill on site commanders usually are rough on the show for that reason.
Yeah, unless you build in unless they're in colors that are good at protecting them. Yeah, I think somebody would have to pilot this really well to be able to get it to go. And it's no fun if it doesn't do the thing.
Yeah, and it's no fun for anyone else if it does.
I disagree with that.
Yeah?
I think because it's not doing a thing that's like, oh, now you don't get to play. I get to do big scary thing. I will probably win, but I think players still trying to figure out how to 3v1 the person doing the big thing is still fun and entertaining. They are not stopping you from doing what you want to do. They are just saying, hey, I will win if you don't deal with this.
Yeah, that gets into a philosophical question about what people are looking for in games of Commander, and I think that there are different opinions on the decked out team about about whether certain patterns are fun. But yeah, I think that's it for this one.
That's it for this one.
All right.
Okay.
All right, this is elite.
Yeah.
No notes.
All right, we're on to Jesus's Hope of Ghirapur deck.
Speaking of unfun play patterns.
But this is Commander. This is
Yeah.
Commander. This is different. This card is not too great in Commander, so I already support this. So it's a 1/1 flyer for 1 colorless mana, which means this whole deck must be colorless. You can sacrifice it, and until your next turn, the player that you dealt combat damage to can't cast non-creature spells. To be clear, it's not like this only applies to your own turn, because it has to be a player that was dealt combat damage by Hope of Ghirapur this turn.
So this works, right?
No, I mean, like, it functions, but
So like I hit a person before me in the turn order, then I sack it, target them. They still can't cast non-creature spells until I untap.
Okay, yes. The thing here with this deck is I don't think we ever intend to do that. I think this is the Commander because it is a 1/1 flyer for 1.
Okay.
As a requirement, Jesus said the swords must stay. This is Hope of Ghirapur swords Voltron Commander. Well, we can just skip down here so you can see. They're all in here.
Yeah, okay.
There they all are. We are looking to add some more protection for the creatures into the deck and some more card advantage. You know, the things that colorless decks are good at.
Yep.
Interaction and protection and card advantage. I think it's going to be a tricky challenge, but I've got some ideas. All right, we get to play some colorless planeswalkers. Karn is just, I think, generically good.
Yep.
Is mana ramp, but like every turn. Ugin reduces your spells and incidentally can remove some other stuff. Big Ugin, very strong. We only have 16 creatures because we needed room for all the swords.
Of course.
Yeah.
Where those swords will go, nobody knows. But
Nobody knows. We have Brasquire to reduce or to get around the equip cost.
Hang on. Is this an opportunity to use the other Karn?
Oh, Silver.
The Stony Silence Karn, the one that
was... creator, great creator.
Yeah. Just animate the swords.
If you want, that is a card that people do not like in Commander.
Yeah.
For casual.
If you're playing a colorless deck, I feel like it's balanced.
I don't know. People don't like it because of the first part.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody's playing Mana Rocks.
Yeah. I mean, we've handicapped ourselves here. Like, we need to do something.
I think it would be fine. I think it'd be a reasonable include into the deck. But as people don't like it. So if you're in a play group or an LGS or something that is playing those kinds of cards, yeah, absolutely put it in here. But that one I've learned is can be a little salt inducing.
Okay.
Other creature stuff. Okay, yes. So Cheesa said some of the more important cards in the deck are Etch Champion, which has protection from all colors as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. Great. Protects itself. Really hard to deal with. Just keep slapping swords on there and punching your opponents. Makes sense. Or Skittering Cicada, which allows you to cast your entire deck at instant speed, but also gets buffed any time that you play a colorless spell. So that will then kill your opponents very quickly. And being able to play at flash speed gives you sort of interaction in a deck that, can't do that. You also have Liberator to be able to cast at instant speed. That is a good and fun card.
Is that not a better commander?
I mean, yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It's will be a much better commander. But I think we're not concerned about that here.
Okay.
This won a CEDH tournament as far as I know. That blows my mind. Just a note thing that people forget about Breaker of Creation all the time. You gain 1 life for each colorless permanent you control. That is all of your lands.
Yep.
All of your lands are colorless permanents. So you're probably missing out on a bunch of life gain. Yeah, our sorceries are all as dust because that's another one that you have to. I guess I'm coming around more to your Karn suggestion because like this is also people hate this, but you run it because you get to in colorless
because you have to.
Right.
Like.
And then you have an Introduction to Annihilation because we're looking for any kind of interaction here. We'll take 5 mana exile and give them a card draw. Instant. So we have most of the interaction and the protection that we can get. Eldritch Immunity is a really good card. For 1 mana, you get protection from each color, or you can overload it for 5. Null Elemental Blast to interact on the stack. You have small removal because it's -3s. Warping Whale, a card that you love, to counter a sorcery and do other stuff, but everybody just uses it to counter a sorcery. You can spend 7 mana to exile a permanent, or the much better Desecrate Reality to at least hit something on everybody's board. Okay, artifacts. Let's look at the non-swords first. One of the nice things about playing in colorless is that you can ramp really aggressively because colorless rocks are usually at a much better rate than other ones. So you get like Basalt Monolith and Thran Dynamo.
I want a Hedron archive pretty bad. I don't see one.
Yeah, and I mean, and hey, that's card advantage.
Yep.
Because
That's why I want it.
Right. That's the whole point of there's that and other Hedron, Dream Hedron, Dream something Hedron. It's bigger Hedron archive. It's taps for 3 and draws 3.
Sure.
And I think yes, those are good cards for a deck like this because you use the mana early, and then by the time that mana does not matter to you, like because you've dropped Forsaken Monument or something, you can then convert those into cards. So I would definitely try those out. We do see the sneaky infinite colorless mana with Forsaken Monument and Basalt Monolith, since this now taps for 4 and untaps itself for 3. What else that's not a sword? Hammer and Azan does help us to dodge all of the equip costs of the swords. We have generic cards that are good. Sensei's Divining Top. I don't know. Yeah. Palantir of Orthanc is in here as one source of card advantage. Because very quickly, everybody, all of your opponents have to just choose draw a card. Otherwise, you mill a bunch of cards and deal a boatload of damage to them.
I haven't seen it played in like any commander deck. I love the Immortal Sun. And I know we're playing our own Planeswalkers, but not many. And I love that card so much.
And that's draw an additional, and Planeswalkers can be activated, and something else.
And your spells cost 1 less, I think.
Okay, I can see it because we it's kind of a scramble for any repeatable card advantage we can get. Enchantments, yeah, you gotta run an Echoes of Eternity now because all of your stuff colorless, double everything all the time. Eldrazi Conscription, yeah, big old honkin' aura. We're only at 32 lands in this colorless deck. I know that our commander only costs 1, but I don't know. Colorless is usually pretty mana hungry.
Why the Urborg?
Why the Urborg?
Doesn't really help us, and it could help our opponents, right?
I don't know. Maybe because you can. Do we have anything that benefits from that?
It also doesn't get its mana doubled by Forsaken Monument.
That's true.
Urborg was a meme. Okay.
Okay, good. Then I support even more.
Ooh, Alhammarit's Archive. Yep.
Double your card draw, double your life gain, which I think you have also from swords and stuff. You can get life gain, so that yeah, you have all of that. Okay, so right, 32 lands, not enough lands. You can sneak in some card draw here. You already have War Room. I think I saw what's its face? No. So there were 2 lands that I could think of that you could add. You have Bonder's Enclave, which is 3 mana or 4 mana to draw a card as long as you have a creature that's power 4 or more, which you're playing a Voltron deck, so you should have. And Sea Gate Wreckage, I think, which is 3 mana to draw a card if you have no cards in hand. It's something. And they're land slots, so that's pretty free.
There are no colorless MDFCs, right?
No. Not according to the color identity rules of Commander.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the land side would be, but...
Yeah. Well, there's I think, technically 1, because the Simic MDFC from MH3 has Devoid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about this goal. More protection, more card advantage. Like, they don't exist. So the suggestions I have for you will not be good, but you might just have to play them because that's what you're doing. Let's take a look at what bad options you have. How about Not of This World? Counter target spell or ability that targets a permanent you control. And it's free if it targets a creature that has power 7 or greater. So like, it's not always going to. You're not always going to be able to cast this. But hopefully your Hope of Ghirapur has got 3 swords on it. It's a 7/7, and I don't know. This is the other thing I struggle with for this deck. What kind of protection do you need if you're putting a bunch of swords on it? What things are stopping you? It's like a
I guess
board wipe?
wipe, but that doesn't help. This doesn't help that.
Right. So this does not help a board wipe. There's also there was not a Swiftfoot Boots in here.
No.
So that seems pretty a pretty easy include. There's another artifact. There's another equipment.
Vandal Blast, yeah.
Yeah. Protection against, yeah.
Actually, it doesn't, right? Like, not an overloaded Vandal Blast.
Right. Champion's Helm is another equipment. I think is the cheapest rate after Swiftfoot Boots to give you hexproof. It's a 3 mana, equips for 1, but also gives you like 1 other keyword or something.
How about Fountain Port?
For what?
Just card draw. Like, are we like maybe we can make some treasure tokens or something to sacrifice?
Yeah. Let's see what.
Is Fountain Port
tokens
legal? It creates a blue fish. Does that make it an illegal card?
That it is legal for your colorless deck.
Okay.
The word blue is fine. The blue pip is not. We can sack. We can sack Power Stones.
Yep. Ugin makes 2/2s.
Yep. And then you get your card. Fleshraker gives you spawns.
Yep.
In a pinch, this can give you a spawn, but I'm not counting it.
Nettle Cyst makes a germ.
Yeah.
Not much.
I think one of these swords gives you like a wolf.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like the Simic one. Yeah, it gives you a wolf. So you could retune it a little bit and get some value out of Fountain Port. I mean, Fountain Port also just, you can go the long way around, make a treasure, sack treasure. But
yep.
Yeah. I do think that you would include this with no changes because the card is just card with thing do.
Yep.
Good. Better than waste. What was there's also Cryptothrall, which I don't, it was not in here. This was from, we'll search crypto on the internet. From the Warhammer ones. Other artifact creatures you control have hexproof. So those are the ways that you could give your stuff hexproof, but I don't think that is the one that really the protection you're looking for here. All I have for you as far as like other stuff, there's Soul of New Phyrexia. Yeah. It's 6 mana. You can pay 5 permanents. You control gain indestructible until end of turn. But it also does function from your graveyard one time. It's something. It's something.
There's that land, the new land from MH3, the Talon Gates of Madara.
To phase out your creature?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I also think I think everybody should be jamming that card into pretty much every deck. For me, it's an auto include unless the colorless pip is really, really detrimental to your deck. But yes, Talon Gates of Madara is an incredible card that you all should be playing. And relevant because this is I think some people miss this. Talon Gates will ignore the $15 cost. So it enters and you can phase one of your creatures out, but its final ability does let you do it at instant speed. Yep. For 4 mana, you can just slap it onto the battlefield and then phase out your creature. So that's a great suggestion. I don't know because right, this is I think this is a Eldrazi Confluence is not the kind of blink that you want. This is the only there it is. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, this immediately turns it to the battlefield, so this would not dodge a board wipe. I think this is a card you should be running in colorless anyway, because it's removal, and this can remove up to 3 creatures at a time, since you can choose the same mode more than once. Or you can, ramp yourself with the Scions or blink your stuff. I think it's an auto include for colorless decks. I don't think this is good either. But you just, again, options. This does dodge board wipes. You exile a creature and return it at the end step. But it means you got to reattach all your swords? I don't know. You just don't have options. This is the best you got.
Yeah.
As far as card advantage, that's a lot easier. I know. I think it was Rob the Princess mentioned Mind's Eye earlier, which is like kind of old school tech, but really it gets the job done. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you can pay 1 to draw a card. Like it's good. It's a little pricey, but we don't care about the price in our colorless deck that's ramping a bunch.
Before I forget, Mirrorbox, I think would be very good.
Yeah. Again, land that does relevant thing.
Yeah.
And then you can sacrifice those tokens to your Fountain Port.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have Sandstone Oracle is I think probably your own. This is the only card that I can think of that,
as you so often are, you were missing the D.
That I can think of that would draw you a chunk of cards at one time. It's a hefty 7 mana, but you then just target the blue player that has 12 cards in hand, and you go, great, I will draw up to your hand size. Here's a card that I never see played at all. Bilbo's Ring. This gives you a little bit of everything that you want. It gives your creature hexproof and unblockable on your turn, so your combat will be largely uninterrupted. And then if it attacks alone, which you're probably doing in your Voltron deck, you do draw a card and lose a life. It's a little pricey if you're not equipping a halfling, but yeah. You have some ways to dodge the equip cost with your Hammer of Nazan and your Brass Squire. You already have the Palantir of Orthanc. I
think like a Mana Crypt would be really good.
Yeah, that'd be
why that's not here,
right? The other way that I would be looking for card advantage is not necessarily just straight up card draw, but like your whole deck is artifacts. You might as well drop a Scrap Trawler in here. Thank you. This generates card advantage because your stuff will die and all of those give you a new card back. And your swords are relatively cheap, so you should be able to get those back if they're destroyed. And this does work really well with a board wipe. If they wipe your board, all of these triggers go on the stack, and you can target the things that were destroyed by the board wipe.
Yeah, that's cute.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the best that you're gonna get here with this kind of strategy. My best advice for colorless decks is just like, you've committed to, I cannot interact well, I cannot protect my stuff well, I just need to be able to consistently put out threat, and my advantage is I get to ramp super aggressively. So if you're looking to swap the deck around, maybe just put some more things in here that like to hold on to swords and hit people.
Yeah, I have no earthly clue how this ever wins a game. By the way, like, I really don't. like Ugin is probably the best, unless you have some weird tricky loop with Walking Ballista that I don't see.
I mean, there usually is one, but I don't see one right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the deck. I saw the suggestion for Smoke Bomb in the chat. I sure that's the same thing. Because it gives you a one-time shroud. But
it wins a decent amount. How does it win? How are you killing 3 opponents with this deck?
I
have no idea.
I mean, I'd run it as is on the show, I think, to find out, but yeah, probably I would probably even give this the 1 ring.
Oh yeah, no, this is a deck where I'm totally fine with it having the 1 ring.
Yeah, but that's what we got.
Yeah, it becomes unblockable with swords, but who cares? Like, you can attack 1 person at a time. It takes probably 3 or 4 attacks to kill.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sort of dying in the meantime, right?
I'm fascinated. I am. I've been trying to figure out some more colorless decks. I built a Marvin deck that I was super dissatisfied with, so maybe I'll ask for some advice. But yeah, there we go. Hope of Ghirapur, Colorless Voltron. Our final list for the day.
Oh, infinite mana combo. Yeah, sure. That's it with the ballista. Sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that combo where you have infinite mana and then you can add any card in and win.
Yes.
But yeah. This, I believe, is Tyler Tie-Dye's first deck tech with us for an Atraxa Deadly Fugitive deck. And you've already got me on your side. I love face down creature mechanics. This is in my 5-color morph deck. So Atraxa, 1/4 with Death Touch, is an assassin, importantly, because whenever assassin you control deals combat damage to an opponent, you cloak the top card of their library. So you put it face down as a 2/2 creature with ward 2. But she also has the ability, you can pay 4 mana to turn, or actually gives your face down creatures this ability, pay 4 mana, turn it face up. And then if that thing is something you can't actually turn face up, like an instant or a sorcery, you can then cast it instead without paying its mana cost. Cool. Very fun card.
Yep.
So this deck leans heavily into the assassin synergy and flavor. We are looking to assess the power level of the deck and find some upgrades for it.
Okay.
Okay, creatures. We of course have a bunch of assassins, and I'm really happy to see how many 1-drops we have, because you really these convert into more and more and more stuff, and you want to be able to swing and get in on an opponent as soon as you've dropped a Atraxa, which could be turn 3. So bunch of 1-drops, bunch of 2-drops, all assassins. Trying to think if there were ones that were especially notable. They pretty much all serve the same function. A lot of these are evasive, flying, unblockable, gives itself flying, etc. There's some deep dives here. King's Assassin is a strictly worse Royal Assassin, because you can only do it before you attack. And I think the Oracle text is like, during your declare attackers or something, you have to use this ability, but it's an assassin. Also per Oracle text.
Okay.
Mari's cool. One of the other assassin commanders. They whenever an opponent's creature dies, you exile with hit counter, and then you can turn those into card draw and treasure for yourself whenever you hit opponents.
Ooh, is Unstoppable Slasher an assassin?
Yeah.
Sick.
Right? People don't want to block that. Or, well, people want to block that. So you are in this like you're killing one of their things each time, and then if they don't block it, you get a bunch of stuff. Hi, Hammy. Yeah, and we see a lot of the Assassin's Creed stuff here is because those were all assassins, all had stuff.
Vein Ripper's an assassin.
Vein Ripper's an assassin. You know what's not an assassin, though, is Phage the Untouchable, and I think this is just simply here for the flavor, right? Like, that definitely didn't get errated, right? Right? I'm not losing it.
Minion probably isn't a type, so it might have just been errated to Avatar.
Is Minion not a type?
I have never seen a minion other than Phage.
I think it's current text is Avatar Minion. But yes, not an assassin, but like feels like an assassin. Is just great. I got in on you. You're dead. For instance, no sorceries. We have counterspell, Cyclonic Rift, and removal.
How reliably are we getting to overload Psych Rift?
I mean,
I feel like the deck is really cheap. Like, the curve should be pretty low.
yeah, but we do have some ramp in the artifacts. Signet, Thought Vessel, Talisman. Usually, I feel like the Psych Rift makes it into the deck because at some point in the game, everything is stalled out. Nobody can do anything. Everybody's going like land go, and that's the thing that breaks that stalemate.
Sure.
Not all of the assassins do have evasion, so we have stuff like winged boots to be able to help them get through. We have stuff like Power Matrix, which this is fun. It just got a recent reprint in the Mystery Booster 2. You can just hold it up as a combat trick, so your opponents are like their blocks get really complicated on their end. You just wait to see what the most advantageous creature to give Flying First Strike Trample.
It has like Embercleave feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, oh, your blocks all stink, and I'm just gonna wait for you to figure that out.
Yep. Yeah, and then Staff of Eden is really cool here because it cares about permanents that you control but don't own, which is everything that you're getting off of Atraxa. Enchantments, Cover of Darkness is great because it essentially gives you unblockable assassins. The Meat Hook here is cool because it's this Meat Hook is just good card. We're going to talk about this Meat Hook in a moment. But we have Ley Line of Transformation and Arcane Adaptation, which Tyler said were important parts of the deck because when you make all of your creatures assassins, it also means that the things you're cloaking off your opponent's decks are then assassins as well. So you're getting this like exponential,
Sure.
like
Okay.
yeah.
I was skeptical of that, but that makes sense to me.
Black Market Connections, Changeling, Assassins. Also seems very assassin themed. So another thing they pointed out for this deck. So with Meat Hook Massacre 2, if you cloak your opponent's creature and it dies, the final ability on this is triggered, and if you pay 3 life, you can return that creature face up under your control.
Sure.
So cool. You don't even have to pay anything for X. You just put this on the board. I think that's a lot of fun, and one of the reasons why I like the face down creature kind of stuff is that kind of interaction.
Are there those flicker effects that return to the battlefield? Are there any of those that return it under your control, not under its owner's control?
Yes.
Okay.
And we did not see any. So that's something that you could definitely try in this. I know Ghostly Flicker is one that specifies exile a creature you control, return it to the battlefield under your control, and that gives you 2. I don't remember which ones specifically have that distinction, but yeah, check some of the flicker spells, because if they specify under your control, you also get to flip those creatures up. They said specifically it shows a lot of flavor over stronger cards or tutors or things like that. I really like that, but I think you should make an exception for Scheming Symmetry.
Yeah, someone's gonna fall for that.
Yeah. 1 mana tutor, but you choose an opponent that also gets to tutor to the top of their library, and then if they don't realize it, you then hit them and cloak their top card that they've just tutored. Or if they do realize it, you get a free tutor. I think this is a good exception because of that's a fun card and it lets you set up some real silly situations. We talked about the arcane adaptation and leyline transformation thing, and if that is something that you really enjoy about the deck, there are more of these cards. There is the card Conspiracy, which is a 5-mana enchantment that changes all of your creatures into the type that you choose. And there's Xenograft, which is a 5-mana enchantment that changes all of your creatures into the type that you choose. So if that is one of the things you enjoy doing more in this deck, you have other options for doing that. Surprisingly absent are all of the free running cards from Assassin's Creed, because the free running mechanic is play this relevant spell for cheaper if your commander or an assassin has dealt damage to an opponent that turn. So there's a lot of like just generically good cards. Like I think there was one that draws 3 cards that gets reduced to like 2 mana or something stupid for the free running cost. There's Chain Assassination, which is destroy a creature and draw a card that gets reduced to 2 mana. Yeah, check those out. In general, check out anything that gives you more interaction like that, because this is Dimir. This is Dimir, and this is all you're gonna give me? That's wild. You might get lucky and hit your opponent's like interaction off of Atraxa, but then they all end up costing 4 mana. So I would want some more counterspells and some more removal in this deck. Period. That's it.
Is there a funny way to like super lean into this and give everyone like cloaked or manifested creatures and then try to steal them? I don't think it's good. I just think it's funny.
I mean, you can reality shift.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would steal them though. Like there's spells, but I'm trying to think if there's like something that mass steals.
What I wanted was Agent of Treachery to draw 3 cards when I have hit them several times.
I mean, you could just run it, right?
Yeah.
You probably have 3 cloaked creatures by then.
You only need 2.
Two. There's also like no board wipes or anything like that. And like, yes, you are trying to build a board of your own, but you could run Raise the Palisades and or Crippling Fear and or Kindred Dominance, the ones that care about creature types, so that you are saving all of your assassins. And you are running these things that turn all of your stuff, so maybe you're saving your whole board. I think a counterspell that would be really funny in this deck is Memory Lapse.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, it's 2 mana, counter the spell, but the owner puts it back on top of their library. So if you see something if you see a spell that somebody casts that you'd like to have for yourself, Memory Lapse, put it on top, hit them, and it doesn't matter what that spell was because Atraxa is able to cast anything, or is able to let you flip up anything. So those are like some adjustments to the deck, but I think some overall upgrades. Training Ground seems really good here. You're giving all your creatures this ability to flip face up for 4 mana, reduce it to 2.
Yep.
The other Atraxa.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that. That sounds fun. I don't know if it's a good idea to include it, but it is fun.
No, I think it's a good idea to include it.
Okay.
Here's why. So can't be blocked, and when it deals combat damage, you exile, put a hit counter on the creature, and that player loses if they have 3 creatures with hit counters. So at its base, it's getting in for free. It's getting you your your cloaked card, but you're also running Mari, which also exiles creatures with hit counters. So you have the opportunity here to be like, great, Mari's on board, some creatures have died, people are racking up creatures with hit counters. Suddenly Atraxa becomes a deal with this or I kill you.
I mean, yeah, but it kills one player and then it goes away. And it's a lot of mana. Like, it needs to survive a turn cycle, you need to find it again, you need to kill one person and then run it back.
We have Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots?
This seems like pie in the sky to me.
I think in a deck that is focused more on assassin flavor, how do you not run the other Atraxa that can sometimes one-shot players?
That is a compelling argument. As long as we are not arguing it will make you more likely to win the game.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly good. I think it is really fun and flavorful.
Yes.
Yeah, because the opportunity that, like, the situation in which this actually works and kills somebody is difficult to achieve, and I think you for sure deserve it if it happens and does not win you the game and just kills one player. Let's see, what else did I have? There are some other, like, really good Assassin's Creed cards that I think we're missing here. Rooftop something is Bypass, I think, is one of the big ones. It's an enchantment, right? Yes. When one or more non-token creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you make a 1/1 assassin with menace. Your deck is built around getting your non-token creatures in on players. This I think is 3 1/1 assassins per turn.
I played a card recently that was like, make a token, like a flying token, and then cipher that spell onto it. So, like, every time that token got through, is that token an assassin? I don't remember what the card was called. I just remember that this exists.
I don't think so, but did I not spell this right?
No, you got it.
That's it? Are you done? No, this is like...
It just refused to show me hidden strings.
Not responding.
Scryfall's not responding.
No, we need to know. Cipher.
I do not think it's retrying. Anyway.
Yes, and I see there was the suggestion in chat for Ramses. Ramses is in the deck. Because, like, that's as assassin-y as you can get. Uh-oh.
Are we stuck? Just can you maybe duplicate the tab and go back? Oh yeah, just delete the search. Just delete the search get request tag there. Yeah.
Okay. Some other thoughts for this. Right. Thieving Amalgam is exactly what this deck wants. It's expensive, but I would totally run this in here. It itself, I believe, is it not an assassin? But each opponent's up.
It's an ape snake, so I know how I see how you got confused.
Right? Same letters.
It's actually an anagram for assassin.
At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you manifest the top card of the player's library. Cool. Those manifested cards still are face-down creatures, so Atraxa can flip them. And then whenever a creature you control but don't own dies, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Yeah. Also, all of the outlaw cards from Thunder Junction, assassins are outlaws. So stuff like Discreet Retreat works with your assassins. And that does seem like an assassin-y kind of thing. I like this one. So it ramps you into Mirror, only to cast or activate outlaws, but that's fine. That's what your deck is. And it draws you cards. Your first outlaw spell draws you a card and you lose a life. There's Double Down. Copy all of your outlaw spells. So yeah, I would take a look at the I would take a look at any of the things that were from Outlaws of Thunder Junction that care about outlaws. Those were the two big ones that I could think of.
Got a suggestion in the chat for Ruthless Ripper.
Ruthless Ripper is in the deck. Very good here. Death Touch, people don't want to block it, and even has some face down synergy.
Yep, that seems like a perfect card.
Mm-hmm. All right. So our other challenge was to give this a power level. I'm pretty confident. I know that what I will put this at.
I just saw your notes over to the side, but I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say 6. This feels like it's right in line with a precon.
Yeah, it's leaning heavily into a theme. If it's allowed to do its thing, it can be pretty strong. The best thing the deck can do does not end the game, but does put you, like, it's strong, but there's nothing in here that's like, oh, I put these 2 cards on the board, I win. It's just, it can do a whole lot. Literally, Tyler has said we're sacrificing good cards for flavor. And there's not a lot of interaction here. So I think all of those things together put it at about a 6, which to me is a modern day precon.
Yep, I would say like a premier set precon.
Yes.
Like this could have been in OTJ, and I think it would have been okay.
Yeah. Or if there had been Assassin's Creed precons.
Yeah. And would it be on the show?
Would it be on the show? I think so. This seems like a lot of fun. I would probably put a little bit more interaction in. We tend to build with that because it makes for interesting moments. But I don't think there was anything here that is on our soft ban list.
My only concern with putting something like this on the show would be that the way it does its thing is by eliminating a single player at a time. And that could leave someone sitting at the table for quite a while before the game ends.
I would not be as concerned with it because I think the only things that do that are Phage, which I don't think the deck is really centered around, or Ramses, which then just wins the game. But I think if we're leaning into what the commander does, we're trying to just hit as many people like with little creatures as possible and turn that into advantage.
Yeah, in my head we were still including the other Atraxa, but yeah.
Oh, even with the other Atraxa, because that's like long game. You need to have had Mari out for a while, long enough for players to get a number. Because I don't think you're doing the Mari Atraxa thing unless they already have the 3-hit counters, or 2.
Yeah.
So that's a long shot, especially without tutors and things.
Roaming Throne isn't on the soft ban list, no?
No,
We're fine with that card.
we're fine with that card as long as it makes sense in the deck and does not make my editing life hell.
Well, that's a much stronger constraint at the end.
I mean, hey, we don't see that often on the show.
Yeah, fair. Okay, I think that's it. I think that is the last deck.
Yeah, this is an interesting set of decks. Definitely a lot of like ones that made me happy.
Yeah, these were creative, which is one of my major problems with Commander in general, is how many uncreative decks there are that just all do the same thing with a slightly different flavor. These were all cool. I think these were all their own thing.
Yeah. Right, the NerdGirl stuff. Thanks to our sponsors for this, Moxfield, obviously, because we would not be able to do this sort of thing without Moxfield. How else would we look at people's decks that are around the world and be able to organize them so easily? We use Moxfield all the time. It's great. And Tales of Adventure, because now everybody's going to go out and buy all of these cool decks that they saw on the Decked Out stream.
Yeah, Atraxa the Silencer stock went way up just now.
Right? Yeah, everyone's like, oh, but but I could have a good time like once in 100 games.
I know that's what you're gonna do.
Right. Yes.
If you want your deck on this, then head on over to the Patreon. There's a bunch of different benefits there. This is among them. We do a deck tech per patron at a particular tier every month. And there's other benefits there too. Get your deck on the actual show, sign tokens, and spell table games with us, and other fun things.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all for this time.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time
on Nerd Girl's
channel
stream
behind your desk.
While we're
All right, later, guys.
Bye.